It's a collection of capabilities of valuable the processes that are used within a business. What do I mean by that? What does it mean by processes? Every application, let's say you are doing a banking transaction, you go into the bank and you are trying to deposit money. You go into the bank or you deposit your check through an ATM machine, or you walk into a teller's office, you give your check, they take your account information, check whether it's what is your account name, and they verify your credentials, and then they will deposit the check, and then they hand you back the receipt saying that this check has been deposited and it will be available in so and so period. And then once that check is taken in by the bank, there's a large amount of process that happens behind the scene. The check goes from your bank to the other bank, wherever, you're giving it to or you're depositing it from. So there's a lot of process. Every single organization, every single business in today's world follows certain very standard processes. So, so those processes, when you try to put it all together and sell it on a commercial scale, then that is an IT product. So that's all it is. I mean, there's nothing specific about it. So if you have been a developer working on a particular software, that application that you're working on, if you are smart enough, if you know exactly what problems it is addressing, you can literally convert that application that you're working on into a product of your own. And when you go into the product world, yes, there is an extra set of processes that you would apply for your own self. Like you start to marketing that product, you start branding that product, you start to become competitive in the market, you start selling the product, you start maintaining the product, you start enhancing the product. So when you get an opportunity, when you're going to work in the product management area, always keep your eyes open. When you feel like you're going to address some problems and you are going to make life easy for certain industries vertical, then that means you are sitting on a gold mine. If you are smart enough, that application that you're working on can become a product of its own, and you can bring it to live, and then you can start marketing it. What did Dropbox do? Dropbox, a classic example, right? We used to share files actually, or let's say you're trying to keep all your pictures organized. Dropbox thought of it as an opportunity, say, you know what, let me just come up with an idea of allowing people to share their files online. I mean, it's a very lightweighted application. Facebook, everybody perhaps might use this on the call today. What did they do actually? It's a simple IT product. And if I'm not mistaken, somebody said it very rightly that when they built the whole product, the Facebook initially when it was built, it did not cost them more than $50,000 actually to build it. But look at the way it has been really marketed. It became a product and it took a life of its own actually. And now today it's a multi-billion-dollar product. Shutterfly, a simple space where people can take pictures, load it there, sell it to people. And you can, I mean, that becomes a business of its own. It's a product. In some sense, these are all the products. While it is addressing a certain business capability that the world needs today. So wherever you are working, if you are a software developer or a software engineer, whatever you are, and you're addressing a certain problem for that industry, always think about changing it into a product of your own. If you think there is a life, you need to do a feasibility study. You need to see if that product really is needed in the market. There's a lot that goes on, obviously. But what I'm trying to tell you essentially is that make sure that when you are working for a particular software in a given company, do you see that as, yes, somebody else might need it. Let me convert that into a product and then start selling it off online as a service. So all these companies, fresh services. Now, I'm sure a lot of you have heard about something called SAP services. I'm not sure if you have heard about SAP. It's a company that had, really captured the market at one point of time, doing an amazing, enterprise resource management work. And today, I in my own, what do you call, imagination couldn't think about like a product, a company that would be beaten. But today, fresh services came in. They started providing, if not entire suite of services that SAP provide, but they are providing majority of those services and through an online system. And I think fresh services is based out of India. So if you find an idea that would prevail in the coming days that can solve a problem, or it can help common people, the product can be of two types. One, which you are servicing a certain set of businesses, business processes. The other set of product could be some way we are addressing, what do I call, common people, like Dropbox. Everybody uses Dropbox to manage their file systems. Intuit is nothing but a company that allows you to do payroll and HR. So it is a product that is geared towards the companies. Facebook, common people uses it, but now businesses have also started to use it actually to do marketing of the services. So depending on which areas of product you are in, you can always think about going into product management, because as most of us feel in the IT sector, that from here on the technology has completely changed compared to back in mid 90s when we all started our IT career. We were developing applications, and the whole game's changed within like 20 years. Within 2 decades, everything, we don't do any kind of traditional work anymore in those environment, because today most of the services are built in cloud. Again, for those who do not know what cloud is, you can again ping me, call me, I'll share my email address with you. You can interact with me and explain. But I want to keep it a very high level for the moment to make it easy for all of us. So most of these services in today's world are cloud based, so that people can use it from anywhere in the world and it can be controlled. And so product, if you are building a product, this is the best time in the IT career, if you can think about it. If you really think you have a very good idea that you think will make money, think about making a product of it and can go into that world. Let me move to the next screen. So as I was telling you, why join product management? So as I said, if you are good in business methodologies, and you want to exercise your creativity, this is the best time. This is the best place. You go ahead, take care of a certain problem that a business is facing, and you're not only getting an experience to work in that process to further improvise it, but you're also kind of building a product for your own eventually down the road if you want to. The other part of the business product, bringing a business product, is you're understanding what the market wants. As I said, like if you feel like you have addressed a problem for a business process, and you feel like there is a need for some other company for the same problem, then your product can be used there as well. So, but how do you know it? But because you're understanding the market, so you can literally, think about like you're addressing some problems, and you're not only kind of preparing yourself to become a owner of that product, but also if you feel like, no, that's not my job, let me just continue my career. But you can continue moving in the same direction, spanning across multiple industries, because you're addressing a particular problem, and you can strategize your career really very well. The third thing that I feel, right, as a product, if you are in the product area, is legacy. At 20, 30 years, 40 years, you retire. But what do I achieve out of it? We always want to retire with some sort of a legacy. Assuming if you are working for a top product in the world, or if you're trying to come up with a nice idea for yourself, and you think that that is going to be a good product, and it launches itself, and it really does good, and you retire, at the end of the day, you're leaving back a very good legacy. Or even if you don't launch a product, if you're a developer, you're helping build a product, then your input will be taken into account. When I work in my career, right, I talk to people, I talk to developers, I talk to businesses, I talk to salespeople, I talk to the marketing people. I'm doing competitive analysis because it helps me to make sure my product is really competitive. My product is really heading towards getting the return on investment that my company is looking for. So I'm contributing to that product. And at the end of the day, if that product launches, if that product makes a lot of money, always remember, you become a very integral part of it, and you leave your legacy behind. Today, let's say you want to start a product very similar to some product like Apple, right? You want to go back to the person who, let's say, for example, you're in the graphic design industry, right? And you want to build a graphic media and graphic company for yourself, or product for yourself. And you have somebody who has really designed a logo for Apple. I mean, that I forgot his name, by the way, and that person, he might be in extreme demand because he's the guy who has who designed the logo for Apple. I mean, it's a brand. We all know about it. Would you like to hire him? Yes, of course you will hire him. Why? Because he's a legend in some sense, because he designed the logo for the company that's one of the top companies in the world, Amazon. Think about it. Somebody will design a graphic logo for that. So you're leaving your legacy behind, and somebody wants to hire you. I mean, if they look at your profile and they're impressed, and that's what you're impressing them about, right? And then definitely, my personal suggestion for all of you who are young, who's getting into the IT world, when you're really thinking of working in IT, work in IT for a couple of years to begin with. Understand the business. Don't try to get into, unless you're really sharp, you're extraordinary, things are different. But if you're thinking of building a career and you're new into the market, work in some company that is product oriented, that is churning out different products. Google has hundreds of products out there. So work for those companies. Understand what Amazon has hundreds of products. I mean, you only see Amazon as a shopping tool, but there are a lot of other services that Amazon provides. So the opportunities are tremendous, and then the pays are really good. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, if you really are good and you go through Amazon product services, and if you become a part of Amazon product team, yeah, the interview process is very rigorous. I'm going to talk about it in a moment, what they're going to ask you. But in 250,000 to 300 is the starting salary in that area, if you're becoming a product manager in the field. And you work for a product, yes, it's very challenging, because you're talking about Amazon here. So if you're looking for those kind of features, definitely product is the area, actually. So talking about what does a product manager role look like? See, you're becoming a product manager. What exactly are you doing, right? I mentioned that he or she is the mini CEO of that company. He's a mini CEO. Why? Because you're looking at, as a product manager, as I said, I sit with the sales team. I sit down with the marketing team. I sit down with the engineering team. I sit down with the senior management. There is a so you're kind of in the middle of everything. Why? Because you want to make sure your product is essentially. You guys can see my screen. Can you full screen, or do I? Is this better now? So so as a product owner, as a product manager, it is your responsibility to make sure that the product is actually flourishing. The product is actually competing out there in the market. The product is actually addressing the customer issues. The product is actually explaining your management that, look, we are on a rise. That's what the product manager is. And broadly speaking, in my experience as a product manager, I felt that you can work in two major areas within product management. You have a business angle of the product manager, and then you have an engineering side of the product management. So the product manager basically is looking forward because any enterprise, any business is broken into two areas. One is the business side of it, which includes your higher management, the board of the company, the sales team, the marketing team, and the delivery team, everybody. And then on the second part of it is the engineering team, because the IT engineering team is the one that is building the product, that is enhancing the product, that is adding value to the product. So when you become a product manager, in your interview, when you start, you can always start by reading their job requirement. And I'm going to show you an example of one of the job requirements that I picked up for you guys. You can look at what they are asking for. In that, you can clearly see whether it's a job where you're mostly focusing on engineering side, because if it is a big, large organization and if the product is really big, you can focus on only one thing, whether the business side or the IT side or the engineering side. You choose and you decide based on the job requirement. So, as I said, you're the one who's completely executing the whole strategy of this product. You're doing the product planning. You're making sure your plan is being executed properly. Why? Because you are bringing a competitive product out in the market. And if it is already launched, then you are trying to contact the customers, get feedback from the customers, because no product can survive in vacuum. No, you have to keep analyzing your product, how it is doing in the market, what are the competitors doing, very important. And how do you get this information? There are a lot of surveys that you do to get an idea about what the competitors' products are doing. So you're always looking to make sure you're enhancing the product. And then once you get the requirements, once you get the feedback from the customer or from the market, you sit down, you analyze, and you prioritize what needs to be done. Obviously, let's say you get 25 important feedback that you think that needs to be executed in your product. Executing 25 changes or product features into a product is not an easy job. So you sit down, you prioritize. You do a lot of mathematics, you do the calculations, you put up value and effort chart, you put up the amount of resources you have at hand, you do those calculations, and then you say, okay, I'm going to do these 10 in this so-and-so phase. So you're basically executing the entire project. Why? Because you're going to meet the vision of the product. The company builds product with a certain vision. As I said, if you are trying to come up with a new product, you always have a vision. There is a company, there is a certain market segment you're trying to capture, because your studies have shown you that if you build this product, you're addressing this problem, then there is this amount of market out there. These reports are available in the market. So you look at what sort of a revenue size you can get from the market, who will be a key competitors, right? And you are trying to understand what brings satisfactions. And you're also the person as a product manager who is looking at the KPIs. The KPIs are nothing but key performance indicator. You keep gauging your product by getting all these readings for the key performance indicators. The KPI management is one of the very important dashboard that a product manager always keep an eye on. You're working very closely with the engineering team, assuming like you have a software development team who's sitting and working on a certain 3 different products. So you need to be understanding that your changes that you're looking to bring into the product can take certain amount of time. So you're working very closely with the engineering product management team. Why do you work with the sales team? Because your sales is you got to pay special attention to your sales team. They come up with a lot of good information for your product, because they are the one who's selling your product in the market. They are the one who's working very closely with the marketing team and sending the message out. This is what my product does, and please buy us, try us. So they come up with a lot of good feedback for you. So you need to work very closely with the sales team, and they are very tough guys. I mean, I work with them, and I can really understand their frustration sometimes, because they get frustrated. They are supposed to meet the sales goal. And if there is a particular feature that is not there in my product that they have in their competitive product, then they come back very hard on me. They said like, hey, we need this product right now. And I am the one sitting down and negotiating, because on one hand, I'm working with my engineering team. And in my current role right now, I'm kind of focused equally on both the side, the engineering side and the sales and the business side. So I'm juggling with my time here. Actually, I'm trying to also make sure that I can keep my sales team happy, because if they are not happy, the management comes back to me and say, what happened, Minaj? Where exactly it's a problem? Why are we not giving them the feature that they're looking for? Well, I know that I have my problem because my software development team is already busy working on something. So I am the one who's managing this balance between these things. Why am I working with the marketing team? Because I know what message they can bring to the market so that the product sells. It is very important. I work with them so that I can explain to them this feature, bring this value to the product. So please market and message it properly for the customer. I'm working with the marketing team there, and sales team, of course, because they are the one who's going to be selling my product. I'm very closely working with them. Engineering team, I'm working with them because I know that my product has to be ready. I have an entire team of software product owners. Below the product manager comes the. I'll get there in a moment. Let me just finish this. And the overall strategy and goal is also a part of my product management job duties itself. Because as I said, the product is successful, it's being sold successfully in the market. There's a lot of demand of your product. So I have to set the goals. I am the one who is defining what happens next, what brings up, because I have acquired enough knowledge about that particular product that I can guide the company saying this can be done so that it becomes more product. So, you're one of the very critical piece in the product when you're bringing out a product. And as I said, eventually, I am doing it. Eventually, at one point of time in my career, I might launch my own product, or I might acquire some product that is not really managed well, and I know the potential of that product, and I can take that over, and then I can implement all my product management capabilities to that, and then launch the product in the market. So I have that vision of my own. Well, how far do I go? It's time to be seen. But I think for you all who are young, who are trying to come into the market, definitely look for companies that are that are really good products actually out there, right? So, and in this slide, I'm talking about what is expected of a project manager, right? As I said, you're defining the product strategy. You have too many requirements that you've had a feedback from in the market, and you're looking forward to build that. Then you're basically building the entire roadmap for that particular product. So when my CEO comes to me, I mean, I don't report to the CEO at Dell, but I do report to a lot of senior executives in the Dell Corporation. So I have to speak about, where exactly my product is heading. What exactly will be my next step? So I have to talk about it. These are very clear expectations from the business side. Always remember, you're defining KPIs. I am the one because it's my product. I have to make sure that the product actually meets certain business standards. I have to sell at least 5 subscriptions a month, a major subscriptions I'm talking about, and that subscription can give some sort of extra work as well. So I have to do that as well. So everything that a manager, the business can expect from a CEO, in some sense, in a very small version of it, they can expect that from a product manager. He's the one who's defining the product requirement document. He's the guy who maintains the entire PRD, they call it. It is a term they use, it's called PRD. And PRD is completely maintained by product manager. And obviously, you're managing the stakeholders. As I said, that you're expected to make sure that your stakeholders are happy with you. Who are my stakeholders here? All right. The stakeholders are marketing, senior management, release management, and engineering. They are my stakeholders. I'm constantly in touch and interacting with them. You are the one who's running beta or pilot programs. Actually, the beta version of the pilot programs, you are the one who's taking care of it, because you know that your capability and the product is ready for it. So you, in essence, are the main person who's going to be the owner of that product. When I say owner, I mean to say really the owner of it, the leader, you can call it actually. So that is what product management is so far. Okay, I'm going to take that to the second part of it. What happens if you are going for an interview? I'm going to take a pause here for a moment. It's almost 21 minutes now. I'm going to stop here and ask if anybody has a question so far, what we have learned. Please feel free to open up your mic, speak to me, ask me questions. Shoaib, Fasi, anybody, if you want to assist the people, let me know. Actually,
Yes, Minaj bhai, we have some question on the Zoom chat.
Okay.
So
go
can
ahead.
you just
What's
see the
question?
Zoom chat? One of the question was like, what is the KPI for a product? Could you please give a real-time example?
Very good. Very good question. Excellent. Think about KPIs as key performance indicators, right? What does it do? Say, for example, you are driving a car. Your dashboard on the front tells you have certain gauge there. I have about half a tank of gas there. My tire pressures are good. My battery looks okay. You know, you all have seen those little dashboards. Those dashboards are nothing but some sort of KPIs for you, how you are doing. Oh, my gas is almost about to end. Oh, I see that my tire pressures are going down. Those are your KPIs that is telling you that whether you can make it to your destination or not. I'm just giving you a crude example, but to let you understand what KPIs are. Similarly, in a product world, say, for example, there are a couple of good examples I can give you. If it is an IT product, daily usage, how many daily aggregate users, DAU, is an example. How many daily aggregate users do I have for my application? Let's say you build a product. Let's say you have a product that serves something. And you see like there are about 2,000 downloads every single day for that product. From let's say it's an Apple application. It's a product that you build for Apple iPhone. If you see like every single day, I see 2,000 people downloading my product and using it, or app using it. It's one of that KPI for you, by the way. So tomorrow or 2 months or 5 months down the road, that 2,000 number goes down to 1,500. You know that something has happened. The number went down. Or user sessions. Say, for example, your app is being used by people and it's a very nice game, and you want to know how much time users are spending on that on your app. So you put in some checks in your software where you see that how much of time the sessions have been active. If the session is active for like 2 hours a day, that means the user was using your product for 2 hours. He was playing. Let's say you build a product that's a game app, and the product actually, and the users are using it, and they keep it. They use it for like 2 hours a day. You should be happy that somebody is using the product that you built for 2 hours in a day. So it's the user session time. It's a KPI. I hope that answers your question, whoever asked the question. So KPIs are the things that you are keeping those meters in front of you so that you're making sure that your car is going to reach the destination by looking at the dashboard. Because if you see that the car dashboard tells you that the gas is almost about to end, I know that you're going to pull out your car to the nearest gas station, get a gas in there. So that indicator on the dashboard is nothing but your KPI. Hope that answers your question. The next question, could you help explain to me what the most crucial factor is when we transition from a service-based to a product-based platform? Very good, interesting question. Can you explain to me what the most crucial factors are? There are a lot of factors you have to keep in mind, Razi, if that you're the one who's asking that question, when you transition from service to product. Now, if your service was basically using a certain company, you're working for a certain company, even for a banking sector, let's say example, and you come up with a product which is actually improving the transaction times, the time from when the check is deposited to the time when the check's cleared from the other bank and your bank gets the money. So you build up something in the middle. It was a product, you are providing a service to your bank through that process. Now, to convert that into a product-based platform, there are a lot of factors you will go through it. You will first of all do an analysis. You do a feasibility study. Well, if I'm handling transactions so efficiently, can that same process, if I give it to a manufacturing, will it improve it? If I give it to some other industry, will it improve? So you do market feasibility study. That is an important factor first. You want to make sure that your product really addresses a big sector, or even a very specialized sector too, right? Like a company I was helping, one of a young entrepreneur working. He built a product where he was analyzing the videos. You have these CCTV cameras, it captures videos. If you are working in a very, let's say, what do I call it? It's a factory, and the factory has to be very carefully guarded. In America, you just make sure that nothing happens to the employee. You want to make sure that your working environments are very safe. So these videos, they have, and then they define the rules. They say when you are walking on the ramp, you're going to hold this handle every time you walk on the ramp, because if you're scared, you're going to fall, and it can create problem for the assembly line. I'm just using an example. So his product was really very niche area. So he said, I can sell this product to insurance agencies. So I know that my market segment is important for me. Which area am I looking at? So another factor would be the market segment. Is it very niche, or is it addressing general market? Is it going into a certain vertical, or is it open to the public? So these are the factors you would analyze. You will also do some study about what your competitors are, who your competitors are in the market. So you would look at those factors too. You want to make sure that you're not competing against, let's say you want to come back and say, you know what, I'm going to beat Amazon. No, it's not an easy thing. It's $1 trillion industry today. They are one of the biggest richest people, not for nothing. They have invested a lot of energy, a lot of exercise. You cannot imagine the processes that Amazon follows today. They are a leader for a reason. So you have to understand who your competitors are. If that market is very saturated, how many competitors are there? That's another factor that you would look for, Razi, when you're trying to do it. So there are a lot of other factors, but these are one of the very key factors you should look forward to convert a service-based to a product-based platform. I hope that answers. And again, there could be a few other factors. I can talk about it if you want to take this offline. Another question from Samir. Could you help me to understand delivering PRD's features in real time? This will probably divert my attention to a very detailed part of it, but I can talk about it offline, Samir. So in PRD, you're literally capturing every single thing about the product. You're making sure that your product Visions are very clearly defined, your goals are very clearly set, your team players are very clearly defined, your release schedules are completely defined, your feature lists are completely defined, your backlogs are completely defined, right? And you know what your calendars of your development team look like. So every single thing about the product actually is in there. So there's a lot that goes into it, and then the PRD is something that needs to be very up to date as well. Every single change, the roadmap items are there in that product. So, and there are a lot of artifacts that goes into building the PRD. So you need to, I can send you a certain article that can help you in understanding the PRD features, and you can probably use that for building the PRD successfully. And I'm giving you guys my email address. You can use that from the chat. It's minhaj.khan1@gmail.com. You can reach out to me anytime and I'll be glad to answer for you actually. So very good, interesting. Any other questions, anybody? In the interest of time, it's almost 32 minutes so far on the call with you guys. So, sir, roadmap / career ladder to be a product manager. Yeah. My simple suggestion, it depends on where exactly are you in your career. Have you already worked for an IT, Ross? Where exactly, which product are you working on, or which project are you working on? There are certain things that I need to know to tell you exactly, how you can get into product management. The roadmap, career ladder is nothing. So long as you are in IT, right? Whatever product you are working on, first of all, you need to understand the company you are in. Is that a company that is already product oriented? Are they churning out products, or are there only a banking sector or a telecom sector or an automobile sector? These are areas, right? There are no products in there. You're building applications that are addressing the internal processes. You're trying to improve the internal processes. You're not building anything for the commercial world out there. When you're building a product that is used by hundreds of other customers, that's a product. But if you're building a project IT, you're basically servicing some of the issues for within the organization. Now, to climb a corporate ladder, you can literally first start by looking at your company itself. You need to make sure that you're working for a product company, like as I said, Amazon, Google, and there could be a lot of other companies, Intuit. And it doesn't have to be only one product. Each of these companies have hundreds of products under their belt. They have mastered the art of building products out there. So for you to 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 build a career in product management, you can literally first think about building looking at the company itself. I didn't realize that Dell would need a product manager until I went there, because I thought Dell is all about building laptops, right, or hardware devices. But yet there are areas where they need some products. So even within your own organization, you can find out if there are any external products being used in your organization. If they are, when I say a product, I mean literally it is addressing certain services within the area, right? My company is into selling. Amazon is into selling products, buying products from one place, selling it to the end users. That is my business. But doing an HR work or arranging health insurance for my employees is not my forte. It's just an administrative job for me. So I use some product from the market and help my employees manage all their health benefits. It's a product that I purchased as Amazon. I purchased the services that is offered in managing employee health management plans. It's a product. So uh, it's an area you have to start looking into which teams you're working for. In every big IT organization especially, always have a product management area. If you just inquire within your different teams, you will know exactly, oh, so that's a product management team. And the synonymity between the product and project is very close. I mean, there's not too much of a difference. The same project that I'm working to solve a problem is actually a product out there somewhere. Project management tools, if you have heard about Primavera, Monday.com, MS, Microsoft Project, hundreds of project management tools, Jira, all these project management tools are now offered as a product. A lot of companies don't have any inbuilt tool to do some project management these days, right? So you have to just inquire within your organization to build your career within the product management area. If not, you can literally search for product manager roles or product owner roles. Get into product ownership. Actually, you can also become product owner. The product managers, I was talking about the team, by the way, I forgot. Product managers are often working very closely with the management and the different stakeholders, but their key members are business analysts. They are the reportees directly to the business product manager, because they have to work very closely with the product management team. So business analysts, product owners, they are a very important aspect of product management. The product owners is the one who takes, they reach out to me and say, what are our next deliverables? And I give them the roadmap and explain to them, these are the new features that we are bringing in, and by so and so time frame. The product manager works with the engineering team, but I'm only interacting with the product owner at that time. Who are my peering the project manager of the software engineering team is my peering partners actually. So, but mostly product owners and business analysts are your team members, and they report to you. All right. Any other question? How a developer play a role in product management? Well, that's exactly what my point was. If you are developing, if your company defines your Samir asked how a developer plays a role in the product management. Once I get the requirement, again, these are all IT products. Commercially, we are labeling it as IT product and selling it in the market. But internally, when I turn around to my engineering team, I am talking to them as a person who says, could you change these things? I want to have this new feature added. And who am I talking to here? I'm talking to the product owner, but product owner interns talk to the Scrum Master talk to the developer. So we all sit together in the team. I am a part of the conversation where I am translating this feature into some technical requirement. And the developer asks me, well, I think this cannot be done this way. Can it be done this way? I'm the one who's sitting down and making a decision and say, you know what? Why? Why do you think you can't do it? Oh, because I think, I'm just going to use an example here. Well, maybe one of these API that interact with the databases to pull data, perhaps may not be able to pull this much amount of data or something. It's some technical problem. I'm the one who's sitting down, working with the developer to make sure that, okay, if it cannot be done this way, let's try this way. So developers are the key, whether it's a project or a product. The developers are the one playing the major role. And if you're working for a very successful product, Samir, then you're leaving a legacy behind. Your code is being directly used by that particular product, and that product is used by hundreds of thousands of customers out there. You know, when I used to work as a developer back in 1990s, I used to always wonder, working for AT&T, I used to think like, where exactly are because AT&T is such a big corporation, right? I mean, I don't know when I wasn't a developer, but at IBM, I was a developer back in 1990s. And I used to always wonder, who's actually using my product? Can I see their faces? How do they feel when they use my product? Are they happy? Are they not? So yeah, but in today's world, you're very closely connected to the chain where your product is being used. So developer plays a very key role. And that's why I advise you that if you work for a product company or if you work for a successful product, your work is basically being appreciated because you are the one bringing that enhancements to it. And you're the one who's building those features for the live customers to use. So if you go out and see somebody using your product online, you can proudly say that, hey, I wrote the code behind it, right? So that's what it is. You guys okay so far? Any other questions? Sir, could you share your experience on how you enhance the profit and sales and gain of your product, and what challenges you face in product management, how you overcame those problems? Each of these is a big question and answer in itself. I can certainly help you with that. But at this time, let me take another question, Ross, and I can say, as I said, I mean, this is like enhance profit. The definition of profit could be multifaceted. Let's say, for example, if the business has been facing technical difficulties, my product is all about claiming promos from Microsoft. Dell buys millions of licenses from Microsoft, and Microsoft want to promote certain a lot of operating system to different. The more operating system the license the Microsoft sells, the better it is for Dell, for them. So Dell have to buy license from them. So my product sits somewhere between those two. Now, then Microsoft gives some discount to Dell, saying, okay, you know what, you purchase the license for $100, but I'm going to give you a $25 discount on every single license that you purchase from me. But I need some information in this format, this fashion, but I want this particular hardware to be there and all. So it's a complex thing. My team was entirely spending, like, there are 5, 6, 8 different people trying to figure out where to gather all that data so that they can give it to Microsoft. It was a pain point for them. It wasn't about profit. Well, it was eventually about profit because you were able to get, Dell makes 2 million laptops a month. It's a huge number, 2 million laptops. And for 100,000 laptops, let's say they're going to get a $25 discount. So you 100,000, I have to figure out what those 100,000s are. It was taking a lot of time for my previous team. So we built a product that identifies those laptops, which Microsoft is going to pay, discounts or something. So, the point is, the profit is calculated, and then yes, of course, Dell gets the money. Perhaps that's a plus side. It's a profit basically, but it's not just always the financial, the monetary gain. It's about solving a problem for your team, for your business. That's important too, actually. Any other questions? Let me just quickly walk around. And I know in the interest of around 42 minutes, so I had a couple of questions here that I wrote down so that you guys should look. When you go for an interview, these are some of the questions that you might anticipate people are asking you. Tell me about yourself. Right? What interests you about this role? What challenges are you looking for in the future? Right? These are the questions. These are live questions I'm talking about, actually. And I do ask them if I'm interviewing another product manager, right? And what's your favorite product and how do you improve it? And what if you have competing and conflicting priority? I told you, right? I have already a backlog of item that my development team is working on, and then I get a new feature from my sales team saying, "Hey, this is really needed in my product." So I am trying to figure out, how do I get it done? There are a lot of competing priorities, conflicting priorities here, and competing priorities here. I have to solve them too. I'm going to ask them, what is an intelligent way of doing it? How do you prioritize your backlogs? And that is a very important question. How to influence someone when you have no authority, especially product managers are people who do not have too much of leverage. If I'm a project manager, I can hire and fire people who is not performing well in building the product. But if I'm a product manager, they're not reporting to me. I'm definitely shaping the product. I'm building the product. I'm finalizing what features are good, what features are bad, what will get me money, what will not get. I'm managing the KPIs and everything. But I don't have people authority. When I have to negotiate something with my development team, I have to really play safe. I have to figure out how do I do that, right? It's a very tricky thing, actually. Why do you want to leave your current job? Are you really tired of working as a product manager for that company? Why is it tiring you? Will it be a problem for me also? I'm looking for that, actually, right? Something that I got to be answering very carefully, very tactfully. And what are your career goals? Where do you see yourself in this role? Some of these questions are very important for me. So I think you guys should be prepared when you do that. Um, well, this is like, when you're doing an interview, when you go for an interview, you can reach me offline, as I said, and I gave you my email address. I can help you how you should face your interview, and how you should start your conversation, what it is. Read the job description very carefully. That gives you a lot of hints about what it is, and time your answers properly. You only given half an hour to answer your questions, so you want to be ready with the right full right answers. And don't hesitate to ask questions. If you have to ask questions, feel free to ask them questions. Ask proper questions, questions that are leading to the right answers. Don't ask questions that are not relevant to the question that is being asked. Ask questions that is going to help you supplement with the answers that the interviewer asks you a question about. Okay, so these are very important tips, and I can help you when you have any job interviews or so. Talking about, this is like a sample job duty that I picked up, right? You can see this is Dell and Dad. Somebody had posted, and I used it here actually. Work as a cross-functional team to deliver committed objectives like key results, KPIs, measurable success. These are all the things that I do actually. But this is not the one that I'm working on. There was something else. Use of customer data insight to find opportunities. Enhancing product is basically based on what you have learned about the product itself. That's important actually. Okay, so you need to understand that. Another job duty is lead a cross-functional team in iterative and incremental discovery of end users' requirement in a dual scrum. So this is basically what it's saying, is that you're going to be working with different stakeholders. Cross-functional team could be anything, like, you're working with the sales team, you're working with a development team, you're working with the release management team, you're working with the operations team. All these things are working different functions, teams actually. You're going to be working with them very closely. Creating prioritized unified product backlog. Think about, I told you about managing product backlog is important thing. Translate your requirement into actionable languages. Remember, somebody asked me about the developers. This is where you are. They are saying that, okay, as a product manager, I'm going to get some requirements from the market, but it is not easy for me to translate. These are functional requirements. You need to convert them into technical requirements, and technical people come with technical questions. So how do you transform those functional requirement into technical, is what you're going to be playing an role with. Define, instrument, and analyze KPIs. I talked about KPIs. I said every single product manager has to have a very keen eye on the KPIs. That's very important. Sell and market your product to executive decision makers, and this is one of the job duties you're looking at actually. Like, say for example, I'm trying to bring in some new changes with my product right now. I want to change the structure it is from the engineering side. This is not mostly from the business side. I have to convince my management about it, why I think I should be doing it, because this is what it's going to bring you in return. Identify stakeholders, build relationship. Yes, I have to do it right now because I'm trying to identify who the different stakeholders will be. Because when I start adding these new features, I might be needing help from some other stakeholders in the business. I have to reach out to them, convince them, ask them if they have resources. So all these things becomes a part of my job. So it's pretty involving. I mean, all I can say is, when you go through this exercise for 4 to 5 years, I am very positive that you will become a good entrepreneur yourself. That is why I think product managers should definitely start looking at building product, career in product management, and eventually become a product, launch your own products in the market. You never know. Eventually, you might come up with a very nice idea that can fly like anything, and you will be a multi-millionaire within no amount of time, because you have come with the experience of managing the product, building the product. You know how to handle the sales and marketing people. You know how to handle the engineering team. So long as you have learned the trade of the tricks of the trade, then you certainly are poised to become a good product launch for yourself. And there are certain things, as I said, feasibility study, competitiveness, what kind of a budget we are looking at, if there is a need for any venture capitalist to invest into your business. All these things will come. If you have a very good idea and you know how a product can be launched, believe me or not, there will be hundreds of investors looking to invest money in you. It's an area where you can certainly grow a lot. All right, with that, I'm going to stop here. I know it's almost 49 minutes. We had technical difficulties, but again, I hope I gave you some ideas. I gave you my email address. Reach out to me if you have any questions. Shoaib and Fasi, if you're around, guys, thank you very much. And I'll stop here. Peace. I'll leave it, hand it back to you. Any questions here? Not at all. Again, I'll give you my email address, minhaj.khan1@gmail.com. Feel free to reach out to me. Again, I come from Hyderabad, India, just so you guys know. Having a good, talking about soft skills now, nothing to do with product management. I wish you all the very best, first of all. Find companies, find ideas. If you are 3 or 4 friends sitting together, and if we have a good idea, bounce it off me. Learn. If you want to, I can certainly help you how to launch products in the market. I've worked with a very nice company very recently. They do services. They build a product for scholarships and grants system. Very nice company. Again, owned and operated by a entrepreneur from Hyderabad, India. Quite a company, and I think it really did good. So you should work towards building a career in this one, and I wish you all the best, and feel free to reach out to me, guys. All right, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm here. Fasi, back to you again, and Shoaib, you can take it back, and feel free to let me know.
Thank you so much.
All right, Fasi, thank you very much, everybody, and wish you all the very best, and hope to see you again. If there is any other thing that I can talk and bring it back, or if you want to build on this existing conversation that I had, and you want me to do a double click or touch base on any other topic within whatever I discussed, please let Career Guidance know, and I'll try to exclusively have a session on that topic for you guys. Like, for example, somebody said, what is KPI management? I can talk about KPI management. I can talk about how to handle different stakeholders. These are different areas within product management that I can double click on to explain to you exactly how you should handle this when it comes to your own jobs. Okay, so I'll be glad to do that. I'll leave it to Fasi and Career Guidance folks to let me know about it. Okay.
All right. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam, everybody. Thank you so very much. Take care.
Hello, kali account number 1, number 2 डाल दो, हो गया number 4 मत दे दो।